All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the semi-final round of the Blood on the Bayou circuit, hosted by The Adventure Begins. We are seeing Evan Ford versus Michael Ramsey. Justin, what can you tell us about this matchup?
This is actually not the first time they've played in a top 8 of a Blood on the Bayou event. Last time we saw them actually at our Rosetta ProQuest Plus on Verdance versus Aurora. I'm sure this is going to be quite a bit of a different matchup. Evan much more at home on Azuri, while Michael always at home on a Lightning hero.
Yeah, and we have seen some spectacular gameplay from both of these players throughout the day. Michael taking down Buddy on Fang on the last feature match, and Evan working his way up with that Zuri Switchblade. So
We did see him on stream on round 3 against actually Michael's brother Rob on Marionette, but I'm sure we're going to see quite a different style of gameplay. I'm sure what Evan is trying to accomplish in against Marionette is very different than what he's trying to accomplish against an Aurora. So I guess we'll see how those differences come out as looks like they're ready to get started.
Yes, the equipment from Michael is pretty standard. It's what you're going to see from the Aurora aggression here. Evan, I believe, is on the Spider's Bite and the Arcane Lantern. That Arcane Lantern is kind of shoved between the Crown of Providence and the Flick Knives there. And
we also see the Black Tech Whisperers trying to get that doubled up disruption whenever he can. Flick Knives, I'm sure probably just his only arm slot. I'm not too sure flicking a Spider's Bite is going to do much, but
yeah, I think in some matchups I believe Evan was running the Hunter's Clave as well. But in this case, having the Arcane Lantern covering up that second one-handed slot.
Looks like he underpitched a Spider's Bite, trying to just peel a card out of Michael on turn 0, and actually getting some damage through with the Tarantula Toxin. Actually seeing the Savor Bloodshed from Evan. Going to the
I don't
bottom
think
now.
he is getting it mainly for the draw. I think it's just a 0 for 4 that his deck can utilize.
And having an Aurora out here, we are a fan of 0 for 4 go agains, as we see Flittering Charge coming out with 0 for 4 maybe go again, but we know it is. An Electrostatic Discharge coming down with an Enlightened Strike, surely choosing the draw card mode for 8. Michael really knowing what he wants to be doing here, snapping these decisions as soon as possible. Even the block from Evan on the Flittering Charge, he really knows what he wants to be doing.
Yeah, and I think that Michael just has to go fast in this matchup. Of course, Azuri has been getting more and more assassin support as time has gone on since Outsiders, and she's becoming increasingly difficult to read as she has new stealth cards to work with, new buffs to work with the stealth cards. Her hero ability is present. Take Up the Mantle exists now. So it is very difficult to read what exactly Evan is going to be doing turn from turn, so Michael just has to stay very aggressive, just push as much damage as he can, force Evan to defend and not be very aggressive on the backside.
Meanwhile, it is on the Aurora to not actually get fatigued in this matchup, but showing a Lightning Press on the Arcanic Shockwave is definitely one way to try to force through damage. And going to be trying to abuse the Tunic over time to try to cheat in these sword swings for free, to try to get just extra value on every turn cycle he can. But the Shakedown coming down as the block on the Arcanic Shockwave is something a little surprising to me.
So we're seeing the Savor Bloodshed with that Spider's Bite. This is going to be 5 go again. Evan just pushing for that on hit. Michael did draw 2 Sink Belows. So staying very defensive is this hand. Although a very defensive hand is not exactly what you want to be seeing in this situation. And it's going to be...
Well, I'm sure Michael wants to be keeping up the pressure as definitely the aggressor in the matchup, but having defensive options is definitely helpful into Azuri.
Looks like Michael just going to take the 5 here, fall to 33, and as the Command and Conquer is the follow-up. Not what Michael wants to see with the 2 Sync Belows in his hand. Spider's Bite on hit is active as well. That current funnel is currently blocking for 2, and that Ravenous Rabble is currently blocking for 1. Are we just going to see the Crown of Providence be deployed here? It is a Scar for a Scar in the arsenal for Michael. Not currently at a higher or lower life total. So currently no go again. It looks like he will just say, I will take the 4. I will redraw a card. It's going to be that Channel Lightning Valley. The
just
arsenal
ripping the crown.
And this is so good.
Now, sadly, that
early.
Scar for a Scar would be online, but sadly it had to go away. And we're just gonna see the funny 1 coming out from Aurora, with what we could see the Channel Lightning Valley in hand. Let's see if Evan decides to respect the sword.
So it looks like in this hand, I believe that Justin Nick is a dead card in this situation. He might just commit that to block the sword out. Looks like we have another Saver Bloodshed, a Codex, and an Enlightened Strike.
Beast Strike. So he has the spare card, at least in Justin Nick, to try to respect the sword. And we, of course, see the Lightning Pitch instead of using the Tunic. But it is a current funnel, not really something you want to be playing out.
Yeah, current funnel, one of those cards that if you are playing it, then you typically are going wide enough that it doesn't matter. Evan must know that there is something going on behind this measly 1, and it's going to be the Channel Lightning Valley. Evan says no blocks.
Not trying to go out of his way to respect the Starfall, and if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. There's so many other options it could have been. We're actually gonna see the Skizzik coming in with the embodiment for 4 go again, using the 2 floating resources from pitching the current funnel. And the Justin Nick now coming down to block it, just trying to preserve life with a card he otherwise can't use. Showing another Skizzik on top. Definitely not cards Michael wants to be seeing. While Skyward Serenade has definitely been a great addition to the Aurora deck coming from the Armory deck, Skizzik is only really good with Skyward Serenade. So actually drawing 2 of them feels kind of bad.
Now
as we pass back over to Evan.
2 Sync Belows at this point, so that Skizzik could be sent to the bottom for later use.
I started panicking, thinking that's the 3rd Skizzik in hand, but that's going to be an embodiment. I believe another blue, as well as the Sync Below we saw before. Now I'm curious what the arsenal here is for Evan. If he's able to clear it out to be able to use the Codex of Frailty well, or if he has to make some kind of like jank play to get around using it.
Yeah, we see him eyeing his graveyard at this point, so it looks like he wants to play the Codex out this turn.
It has good options aplenty right now, especially knowing that 2 Command and Conquerors engraved now. With the Lightning Valley up, Sigil of Suffering has to be something he's a bit concerned about. And Command and Conquer would definitely make it easy to get around that, assuming he can get his arsenal cleared out before seeing it. This is definitely a different pace of play than I think we saw earlier. Aurora probably just swinging wildly into Fang, while Fang blocks a little bit and swings wildly back. We're seeing much more like very, very slow, methodical gameplay, of course, from our assassin player.
Yeah, and it's always that tricksy assassin style that makes it very interesting to watch. Evan is just deciding when and how he wants to deploy the cards in his hand, and Michael has to guess how he's going to be manipulated.
Definitely taking his time to try to make sure he's making the right play. These are the untimed rounds. There is, at this point, quite a bit of money on the line with $500 total in prizing to our top 8. Trying to just get that little bit extra, but actually playing a Codex from Arsenal to and having to discard to it. Not really what you want to be doing as an assassin player.
Yeah, I think
using the
Evan
Codex
was
to grab the
pointing out-
CNC.
Yeah, Evan was pointing out with the E-Strike that he potentially could have blocked with it on the last turn rather than just discarding it.
Yeah, but it's really hard to expect that Aurora is going to have 2 kind of dead cards in hand at the end of the turn. Surely one of those was a 0 for 4 Gogan he could have blocked on.
Yeah,
but with
and it was
still those 2 sink belows, having the Command and Conquer again on that hand is very rough for Michael.
Yeah, Michael having the electromagnetic somersault to cover up that Command and Conquer and still hold on to some cards in hand at this point. The Skizzik was not able to sink it. This is a measly 3 and 1 Arcane here. No, go again. Having to pitch that sink below to the Grasp of the Arknight.
He'll at least be able to set up an embodiment behind this and get in a little bit of chip damage. He still has the lead at the moment, but Assassins, whole mantra is playing the game of inches, trying to take a little bit more and a little bit more away from the opponent. So being a bit behind is a little expected. So we'll have to see after a couple surprisingly low value turns from the Aurora to see what they can do next to come back. In a very classic E-Strike draw off of the Channel Lightning Valley, even with no action points, he could Snapdragon Scalers, but then all he has is an E-Strike in hand. There's not much he can do with that. The amount of times E-Strike is drawn off of a Channel Lightning Valley with no other cards in hand is very, very worrying. It's almost like it knows.
Yeah, and it looks like no 2 lightning cards were pitched. That Channel Lightning Valley is going away. Still got the value off of it. But Evan with the 3-card hand plus the arsenal, what kind of tricks can he pull today? It's going to be the Saver Bloodshed from Arsenal coming through, giving the Spider's Bite +4.
Spider's Bite already a card you don't want to give 1 card to. Definitely not trying to give 2 cards to block it out when with its piercing you can't even use equipment well on it. Just gonna eat the 5, take whatever's coming next, and the classic Isolate coming out from Missouri with the card in hand. That Saber coming from the Arsenal, that remaining card is in hand. There's so many things it could be.
Even though this does have Dominate, there is the Sink Below still in Arsenal at this point.
And the 2 block from Grasp plus the Sink Below in Arsenal should be able to cover up just about anything Evan wants to be doing here. It's actually the Surgical Extraction coming out. A little bit of an overblock, but you really don't know what's going to be coming through on that. Going back to Aurora, we see a Gone in a Flash, the E-Strike from last turn, a Current Funnel, and didn't catch the last card. I believe Skyward Serenade? With the embodiment up, E-Strike, draw a card is a pretty free play to kind of go for. Problem is it doesn't really enable trying to Tunic Sword or anything. That Tunic just being wasted the last couple turns. As Michael hasn't had that much to do.
Well, if it is indeed the Skyward Serenade, he would be able to remake the embodiment token and to go even wider and turn on the sword. if he so chooses. For now, though, just the 5, go again.
Evan probably a little bit scared seeing the E-Strike come down. Not easy to block if the second channel Lightning Valley comes out. We do see 2 Shelter from the Storm in Evan's hand, along with the 3rd Codex of Frailty. Seeing 1 pitched earlier and 1 played, along with the Kiss of Death. So, plenty of blocks this turn. Question is, if he uses it now, will he, or if he chooses to keep his blocks for now, will he still have time to play them later?
It's going to be the 4 cover up on the E-Strike. The chain being broken. The Skyward Serenade coming out. Embodiment of Lightning. Skizzik and Banish.
I believe that's already 2 Skizziks in grave. This is the last Skizzik coming out of deck, which is really, really scary for our Aurora player, because Skizzik, again, not a great card in its own right, but Skyward Serenade itself, when it's just an embodiment +1, is also not too threatening.
The second Shelter from the Storm coming out this hand. Evan looking to just continue to block with his hand, keep that Codex for a better turn. It's going to be the Arcanic Shockwave coming through, fused with the Gone in a Flash. Now this is interesting. Michael running the Gone in a Flashes with the Snapdragon Scalers instead of the Lightning Greaves, choosing to not try to go for the very flashy combo that someone like Acilio might be trying to do. Rather just wants to potentially get 1 or 2 bounces off of it over the course of a couple turns.
Yeah, Aurora does not quite abuse Gone in a Flash the same way Acilio does. As a big Gone in a Flash gamer myself, it is very sad. With Serenade coming into the list, the density of instants has actually gone down quite a lot in Aurora. So not quite able to abuse the Lightning Greaves. Like, I think best case is maybe 2 bounces on it, which you may as well just take the Snapdragon Scalers for the added consistency and just the failsafe of Aurora sometimes just not finding enough go again. Syncolo coming down to cover up the Entwine on the first chain link, and now we see the Ravenous Rabble coming in for 4, threatening the Lightning Valley in hand for Michael.
It's going to be the 3 block coming through, the Lightning Valley being played by Michael. Should it hit and draw the Flittering Charge? Flittering Charge coming through with the Starfall.
Ravenous being very clutch here, showing the lightning pitch that Aurora wants to keep the Lightning Valley around. And it's going to be an arsenal of that E-Strike for Michael, getting a counter on the Lightning Valley, and going back over to Evan with, I believe, a Codex of Frailty and Arsenal still.
Yep, Tunic counter on 3, 1 floating.
That does help explain why he didn't just play it before. I don't believe he had a Leave No Witnesses in grave at that point, but now he does have the Dagger, Tunic, CNC play available to him, while Michael does not have the Crown of Providence, and actually only 1 realistic armor block left. With the effect of the Spider's Bite online, Michael might just have to take this because he has no other option.
Yeah, and the E-Strike can sometimes be kind of clunky in certain Aurora hands, right? She's wanting to play out every card in the hand, and E-Strike costing one of those cards can make your turn maybe not as explosive as you want to be. So I think it's fine in this situation getting rid of the E-Strike if Michael has a very good follow-up. And it looks like it's going to be...
Aurora definitely wants her... Aurora wants her 2 cards to be 4 go again, 4 go again, not really a 2 card 5 go again. So definitely easiest to just give that up, while it would be too difficult to protect. Entwine Lightning coming down, showing the Skyward Serenade, while we see the Gone in a Flash and I believe Scar for a Scar in hand for Michael.
Yeah, and I believe that Skyward Serenade now is only Embodiment and +1, as all 3 Skizzics have been played.
That does mean being able to give extra go again to do something that needs it. I like the Scar for a Scar in hand or the Gone in a Flash.
Unfortunately, no instant for that Gone in a Flash.
Yeah, that would be the dream combination here, to be able to give the Gone in a Flash go again, bounce it with something like an Electrostatic Discharge. But instead, we see the 4 block coming out for Evan to be able to play out the Skyward Serenade. For the sad Embodiment +1, but that is still a 5 go again, as I was just talking bad about each strike being just 2 card 5 go again. Here we have it.
This point, Michael has to make do, right? No more go again left in the hand. Does not want to use the Snapdragon Scalers at this point. No reason to, just using the Skyward Serenade to give go again to the Scar for a Scar.
The last card in hand being Gone in a Flash. I'm not sure if we will see Michael playing it out. Following the kind of, heuristic against assassins to not leave yourself an arsenal that you have to try to defend. And there must have been a reason he gave this go again to be able to play it out.
Well,
as opposed to maybe saving it for later.
Giving this 5 go again also makes Evan have to use 2 cards to block this, or take damage and draw off the Channel Lightning Valley is Michael. So trying to find potentially maybe something to pitch into the Starfall, or some instant card to bounce the Gone in a Flashback.
Oh no, giving the Flick Knives to try to shut off the draw card from Channel Lightning Valley. Seeing the Gone on a Flash coming out for just 4 power. Evan looking like he does not have the block to try to cover it up without giving up his Crown of Providence, likely. Giving the damage, arsenaling the card drawn off of Lightning Valley as Lightning Valley goes away, and we pass back over to our Assassin player.
Looks like it's just going to be Infect for the turn. 1 card left in hand is Evan. What kind of tricks will he try to pull off here?
Giving the Snatch on block. Trying to make sure you can cover up 6. And that is a Command and Conquer being swapped out. Generally, I hear Evan say a lot, if you can pitch to the Command and Conquer, it's better to just do that so they can't try to de-react in on it. But here he didn't really have the option, playing the red Infect from Arsenal toward Azuri's effect.
Yeah, and Michael off of the Sink Below drawing the first burn-up shock we've seen this game. Most likely wanting to Arsenal that for next turn, as it's not really going to get any value on this turn.
It does have a good amount of inherent value of telling your opponent to give you cards. I personally think like 80% of Burn Up Shock's effect says take all cards away from your opponent, even if it doesn't connect.
And it looks like he did have the Tunic counter, which means the Starfall will come in first. The Crown of Providence will be the block. Evan most likely going to try to find something very defensive at this point, as he wants to be blocking a lot on this turn. Lightning Surge for go again. Should Evan take 1 point of damage on this turn, he will be taking 4 additional Arcane. Is forced to defend to the best of his ability.
Ooh, being forced to give up the Tunic to try to be able to block this out and still have cards to block whatever is following it. It's going to be a Snatch, and he will just snap the 2-card block, probably arsenaling his last card, meaning that is a whole turn and Assassin is not displaying disruption into the Aurora.
Yeah, and you've got two very good pieces of equipment, both the Crown of Providence and the Tunic, forced to be blocked here. And that just means that you can play much more freely as we see double Arc Lightning in the hand of Michael.
It's going to be another burn-up shock coming down. Trying to not absorb the free go again from the Arc Lightning. And we still have the Arc Lightning able to give go again to the last card in hand. I believe Arcanic Shockwave. And most likely arsenaling the last Arc Lightning. That is right. We do see Arcanic Shockwave coming down, revealing the second Arc Lightning that is probably destined for the arsenal for 1 Arcane, or go again on hit, burn up. But there is a non-zero chance we see it just pitched away to Starfall to threaten more with the burn up, and that is what is happening, taking another card away from our assassin.
Yeah, so Evan
With
not
all this...
left with much going on. Evan deciding to not pitch into any of the arcane damage for this turn, choosing to keep that weakest link. But it looks like Michael doesn't even have an instant in the hand, so he's just going to take the 6, show the hand.
And Aurora does bring a good amount of instants, but at usually about like 9 to 12, it's kind of hard to really decide when you want to weakest link and hit them. But it seems like a hand that's kind of lacking go again. So we'll definitely see the Snapdragon Scalers played here. With the rest of the hand looking like a Snatch, a Static Shock, and a Lightning Surge. We do see one of them, oh, it's a Heaven's Claws, being pitched to the Starfall. With Evan at such a low life total, we'll almost certainly see the embodiment being paid for to keep sending these 4 into 4 that Evan just has to deal with. He can't deal with all of them.
Looks like he does have the Sync Blow on this turn, going to cover up the Static Shock. But now it's
but just Snatch. To be followed with a Snatch.
Taking 1. Michael getting to draw an arsenal for the next turn. Evan, no cards in hand. Nothing to do. Just be the pass back over to Michael. What can Michael do on the offensive for this turn? It'll be the Arc Lightning starter. Will he respond with the Channel Lightning Valley?
Looks like no, the Arc Lightning being the draw off the Snatch, just fully enabling this turn that might otherwise struggle. And the Channel Lightning Valley in hand probably spells doom for this.
And that'll be it.
And that's going to be the fist bump extended, showing how much damage Michael has coming in.
Yeah, it was just Michael just very aggressive throughout the course of this game, maybe seeing the Skizzics too early, but seeing the burn-up shocks and the Arc Lightnings at the perfect time while he had tempo to help him close out the game.
And Aurora showing, like, even with some of the rough hands, how many options she has to get out of those potentially bad situations and just keep sending threatening amounts of damage at the assassin.
Yeah, even considering that Michael had IP'd himself on 2 Sync Belows for 2 or 3 turns before he had actually been able to use them. It was just very interesting that he was able to claw himself back into a commanding position after that.
With that moves Michael into our finals, who is going to be played against an Enigma one way or another. The other matchup going on at the moment being an Enigma Mirror. So we will see how that ends up on our next round, and that will be it for us today. Looking forward to Battle Hardened Houston to cap off all of our circuit events, and we'll see you then.
And of course, if you would like to come out and join us for any of these circuit events. The next one will be held April the 19th back at Tab, as well as it being a ProQuest. So if you missed it this time or are very interested in making it to the next one, April 19th at Tab, same place this one was held, we will have some more amazing Flesh and Blood gameplay then.